All right, welcome to the Never Ready Podcast, the podcast where I sit down with exceptional individuals doing exceptional things with their life in hopes to make you feel a little more like you're ready to take on challenges and your goals of your own life. Today I'm joined by Hank Wheeler, who is essentially my second father, has always been father of my best friend, who recently has gotten back into releasing music again after a 13-year hiatus. So I'm really excited to sit and talk with him about all of his motivations and coming back and doing so. First off, main thing I want to ask you first is, what is your overall goal that you're kind of hoping happens with your music now?
Well, I really didn't have a goal.
That's good.
The intention was to write and record one song. The first song that you put a video to.
Yeah.
What was it?
It was Caleb's song. Yeah, great song if you haven't seen that, about his son, my best friend who had passed away.
And I was going to do that and be done with it. I didn't think even about getting back into doing music. And I don't know what happened, but a month later, here I am. I've written, 15, 20 songs?
Yeah, you've been churning them out quick.
And for some reason, the ideas have been coming to me. And every time I get an idea, like the other night, I woke up at 1 a.m., with a song in my head, and I had to write it down. So I never expected it to, in a month, accomplish more than I did in the last 15 years.
Yeah, you've essentially written an entire album in a month's time.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. I get that, though. I talk with a lot of people that come in here for the first time, and I let them know, a lot of people just come in and want to do a cover or something, think they're I've never heard myself sing, recorded or all this, so, I want to do it. And I tell them, first thing is you're gonna basically cringe at yourself. You're gonna start and you're gonna be and then once you finish a song, that feeling of this is done, I made this, let me show it to the world, becomes so addicting. And it's just it's like craving a cigarette. You're just I need to go sit down and write something, but it's really fun. But 15 songs, man, and they're good. I'm loving them. I keep listening. I like Eleanor and Caleb, or Caleb and Eleanor. Is it, which one?
Eleanor and Caleb.
Yeah, I always backwards. Caleb's song still, just because it, again, is very close to me in particular. I love it. I've listened to it multiple times. Honestly, even though I made the video, I don't watch it as much because it'll make me want to cry.
Yeah.
So I can the song itself does that, but when I put the face to the song at the same time, I'm
Yeah, it seems like everybody that's watched that video has cried.
Yeah, that's a powerful thing to be able to do that.
And that wasn't my intention, of course.
No, but you were speaking from the heart.
But watching it now, I understand.
Absolutely. I mean, he meant a lot to a lot of people. So, and you're his father. So, hearing the father's perspective and how you singing about him is a real touching thing.
And it's funny. The two songs, Eleanor and Caleb and Back in Arkansas, seem to be the two most popular songs that I've done so far.
And I mean,
I don't know why, but they are.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Just something for you to pay attention to, because when we first start releasing songs, because we've been doing it now for a few years. It's right away, certain ones when you first drop them get a little more attention, but over time, my most popular song is one that I wrote on a whim, just it took maybe 30 minutes. Me and Blade sat in here and just had fun, made something. Never promoted it, never did anything for it, and it's become my most popular song. And it's just funny to watch, all the ones that we worked real hard on and we showed everybody, they was real popular at first, but over time, it's these other ones that we didn't even worry about. Those are the ones that have got more popular. So it's interesting to watch how it changes, what's your most popular. And I love that Spotify now does, because they used to do your top 5. Now they do your top 10 songs when you look at your thing. So I'm constantly seeing daily stuff will change on there. Yeah. And it's real interesting to see what people are digesting and what becomes their favorites.
Yeah.
How is it different this time around compared to when you were recording 13 years ago and working on stuff?
12 and 15 years ago, it was a lot harder to record.
Yeah.
I was using Master Studio tape on the large 10-inch reels, and they came out great. There's no doubt about that. And I got good at editing tape, and that I can do. When it comes to this new software and I don't know enough about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you do,
Mm-hmm.
but
Thank
but it's a lot different.
you. Yeah, it seems like you're learning quick though. I mean, to get
There's
15 songs out in a month.
There's so many things you can do now that I couldn't do,
Mm-hmm.
you know, back then.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stand to listen to myself back then. If anybody put a song of mine on, I would shut it off.
I'm the same way. I hate listening. It's funny enough. My dad's favorite song of mine is like one of the only ones I've like sang and played guitar, and he loves it. Like he played it when I was at his house last weekend. He's like singing along, knows every word, and I'm like, this is the cringiest one for me to listen to. I can't listen to myself sing.
Yeah.
But most artists are their own hardest critics.
And people seem to like what I did back then.
Mm-hmm.
But me, I hated it. You know, because when I listen to, I think when you listen to yourself back,
Mm-hmm.
you notice all the little mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, why didn't I fix that?
Absolutely.
Why didn't I catch that in the first place? And when you have it on tape, it means you have to go back in, record the whole song, and I would record the same song like 8 or 12 times,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get it perfect, and there was no perfect.
Mm-hmm. Now we can do.
Now I can sing once and
Yeah, you can make it sound good.
let it take over, and it corrects everything.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that don't like that.
Yeah, the auto-tune haters are a big thing.
And the voice enhancement and
Yeah.
pitch control, they don't like that.
Yeah, it's your like traditionalist out there.
And I'm a traditionalist.
Yeah.
Which is funny that I'm so into this new
Mm-hmm.
technology.
I think it's just like people get too hung up on all the nitty gritty of how the song was made. Like the only thing that matters to me in the end is the song. I don't care what people use. I don't care
Right.
how they made it. Some of the biggest songs in the world would be recorded on an iPhone and just like with the headphone mic, they recorded it and put it all out and then like bam, done. And then there's these people with multi-million-dollar studios that are just like so upset at the little iPhone kid that put out this great song that went number one. They're like, you didn't do anything the correct way. I don't care. It's like, what does the song sound like? It's just its own thing. I don't care what tools you use to make it.
Yeah.
If the song is its own thing. If the song's good, the song's good. I don't care how it was made.
Well, for me now, it's more about the message in the song.
Absolutely.
You know, more than it is.
Mm-hmm. Something you and me talked about, or last time you were here, is how I consistently try to differentiate between there's songs and there's songs. And you're very much writing like the songs that will stand the test of time because they mean something. And then there's those other songs, like, which is more the stuff that I make, which is like, it's real vibey, it feels good, you listen to it for like a month because it's stuck in your head, and then you forget about it and move on. Yours is one that like you can come back to it after 3 or 4 years and still get that emotional feel that you got from it because it is a deep like impact song, and they are coming from a very deep place for you. You know, you've written multiple now about Caleb, your son, and then I really liked that one about your buddy Sam too. You sent me. I don't know if you've released that one yet.
No, I haven't.
I like that one a lot. Like I said, it made my buddy Blade cry, even though yours is a more happy one. But he had his best friend Sam had passed away,
Right.
so it was like, you know, coming to see Sam again or something. It made him emotional, even though it's like a happier song.
Yeah, I actually wrote that for a friend of mine, Sam, who moved to Cheyenne, Wyoming,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like 9 years ago.
Nice.
And it was just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
But some people that have heard it seem to like it.
Yeah, I think you should release that one. I like it.
And then the Yellow Cat, that was a joke
Mm-hmm.
for my sister and brother-in-law.
Mm. No, it's.
And they loved it, but I don't think I've released that one either.
I'm not sure if I've heard that one, unless you've sent it to me. I listen to the ones you send me, but I'm not sure. It's not ringing a bell. The Yellow Cat. But yeah, So you've released 15. Have you written more than that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably about 25.
You just keep on going, huh?
Yeah. In fact, I wrote one the other day, which I did release the other night, Old Ways.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one yet.
Because of all the talk of, you know, or all the criticism about, oh, you're going real country, you're selling out to the modern day.
Yeah,
No, I'm not selling out to anybody.
No,
In fact, I don't anticipate on making anything on this, and I don't care if I ever do. But singing the old cover songs,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like from George Jones and
Mm-hmm.
George Strait and Vern Gosdin. They're all great people,
Mm-hmm.
and I love them. But where was I going with that? Nowhere.
Yeah.
And it didn't have my personal touch to it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you have to pay for the copyright usage if you want to release them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Annual fees,
like
and all
$12 a song
Mhm.
per year,
Yeah.
just to keep them online. And I wouldn't even make $12 a year on any one of them songs.
that. Yeah. No, so they definitely don't pay for themselves. We have specifically strayed from doing covers. We release them on YouTube because you can release them on YouTube without paying anything. But if you want to go to streaming platforms, you have to. But on YouTube, it pretty much immediately gets copyrighted. So any money that were to be made from it just goes to the copyright holder.
Yeah.
So like we do them strictly for promotion at this point, and it's been a great tool to practice recording because like before we started releasing songs that we were recording here ourselves, we probably recorded 30, 40 covers in here. So that's 30 or 40 songs that I recorded and then mixed and mastered to try to make as good as possible. And Blade's playing the instruments too instead of just using like karaoke tracks, which we've done multiple times too. So it's a lot of practice and a lot of promotion, which funny enough, a lot of times cover songs do better on YouTube because it's people know the song, they can listen and sing along. Like when he goes and does shows, he's still at the level of that he's playing mostly covers. Like he sprinkles in his originals as much as he can, but people want to sing along and want to know the songs in the background, which is completely understandable. But what you said about like not really expecting it to go anywhere, that's part in that mindset to me is part of why your songs are being so impactful is because you're writing them specifically just for you and for the sake of writing them. You're not trying to become the biggest artist. So when you're coming from that place of I'm just doing it for me, and especially it's like therapy or like a journal entry. You get to really go in and just try to express how you feel, and then you have the fun part of trying to make it rhyme and all that. But doing that, you're coming from a genuine place, and I think that's why your music is connected with people, especially like Caleb's song, the first one. And that one too, being your first song after like a 13-year hiatus is just everyone's like, what? It's gonna grab some attention right away, But it's good stuff. So are you enjoying how it is today much more than it was then, or did you enjoy the old school tape style and everything before more?
Well, if we would have had the technology then I think it's just easier now to do things.
Yeah.
But then I have to deal with the criticism too.
Yeah, that's everywhere. I strongly encourage you and then anybody listens, you just basically ignore comments. We get so many comments. I got one video right now from my other podcast, Caught in the Moment, where we write a demo and just like we literally are in here making up a song, just like in an hour we're trying to make something, all the instruments, and then every single thing on there gets re-recorded when the time comes, unless there's just like a beauty to that first take. Sometimes there is, but we make a demo, we take it and we listen to it. And I posted a snippet. It's like got to be like 8 seconds or something of my buddy in here warming up, and he's drinking beer. He's like, he's literally just warming up to a song that we're trying to lay like right away. We're making it all right there. And I posted that 8 second clip with no context. There's no words or nothing. It's just he did a cool roll and then he's just warming up. But he's like slightly out of time with the click, and because again he's drinking and warming up. He's like it's not the perfect take. It'll all get fixed. And it's got like 70,000 views. It's been sent like 1,300 times to different people. It's got like a couple hundred comments, bunch of likes, and so many people commenting on there are like, what is this? Why is he out of time? You should just turn the click off. It's pointless. And I'm like, why are y'all being so mean? He's just warming up.
Yeah.
But if they watch the whole podcast, they would literally, it fluidly makes sense with what he's doing. But just out of context, that little snippet of what people see, everyone just loves to be mean, man. Like, there's no shortage of your assholes out there.
Well, the thing about social media now is it's not very social.
No. No, that's
They ought to change it to hate book or.
yeah. No, I actually Gary V is he's an entrepreneur. He's big in the media world right now, but he says we're shifting out of the social media era because it's no longer social. He thinks it should be called interest media because even now, you follow people and it doesn't matter. Like you're not half the time you're not going to see the stuff from people you follow. Like if you're watching videos, it's not every once in a while somebody you follow pops up, but it's just whatever kind of stuff you are interested in. Your phone shows you now. So like followers no longer matter. Anybody like you don't have to have a couple 100,000 followers to be getting a lot of views on your videos. You can have 10 followers and have a video that goes super viral. Like on Instagram is where that one video dog wants in. The Instagram is where that one video's got like 70,000 views, but I only got there's probably like 200 or 300 followers on that account. Like there's like nobody following it, but with the way social media works now, it's like anybody can see it. So it just gets pushed. If the content's good, it gets pushed. Or if it's bad and people want to hate on it, it gets pushed. So it's like this truly is no bad publicity nowadays because if people are commenting mean things, it's promoting your stuff to even more people now because there's engagement.
Yeah.
So that's why it's better just to not read most of that stuff. I know it's hard, especially for years been so used to when you have notifications that are like you have comments, you just want to immediately go check it and everything and see what's up. But once you started doing all this and getting a little bit of traction rolling, pretty quickly you start trying to ignore that because everyone's just mean.
Yeah.
There's some nice ones sprinkled in there, but
I haven't had any mean comments or anything.
Well, that's good.
Just a few that wonder what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why am I not the old me and why am I the new me?
After 13 years, some things change.
And that's why that song, The New Hank Is Here, I wrote that basically for that reason.
Mm-hmm. To tell them what you need to tell them, how the changes happen. I like it. I'm enjoying it. I have had, like I said, the first song you dropped, my mom even messaged me right away and was like, "Who is this?" She's like, "I'm just crying first off from the song," but she's like, and I said, it's Caleb's dad, and she's like, "He has an amazing voice." And she just loves it so much. And a lot of people, Tristan, Hank's wife, we were over there after I left your house. We went over there to meet his baby, and she's like, "I almost didn't believe that was him." At first, I'm like, "It is." And you can definitely tell, even with tuning, the fact that all of your songs sound the same.
Yeah.
The new ones anyway. It's clearly the same person doing it all. It's not like you're just generating entirely new vocals because you can nowadays. You could just you're like, "I want a female to sing this song," and now you got a female singing the song. But it's all coming from you. It's your traditionalist. Hard to move with the times,
Yeah, well, logging into Spotify and Tidal through the artist portal, where I can go in and see, analytics and all that, it shows that my biggest listeners, or biggest group of listeners, is 18 to 40. It used to be, years ago, it was mostly people above 40 on up. But I'm seeing a lot less of the older crowd that used to listen to me, listening to me now. Yeah. So it's like I've attracted a whole new young group.
I think that's a good problem to have.
And no matter which way I go, I'm going to lose one of those groups.
Yeah, but that's the beauty in just really doing it for yourself and not trying to climb the charts, is because you can't get too caught up in who's listening. Again, for me, the joy is creating the song, and the second I release it, I just don't really care anymore. I used to look at a lot of the analytics pretty regularly. When you first start out, you're always like, who's doing what, who's looking at this. But now it's been months since I've looked at anything like that. Man, I don't most of the time, what's funny is a lot of the people are the people that don't really listen to your stuff, surprisingly.
Yeah.
It's usually people you don't know. The most I've ever, or the best any of my songs have ever done is I had bumped up on Spotify to 600 monthly listeners at one point, and pretty much every one of them was from the capital of Finland.
Wow.
I don't know how. They just found my song one day, and a lot of people started bumping it. But I don't know. It's interesting how it works out. And a lot of people get hung up on that too. That they expect all their friends to be their fans.
Yeah, and
But
they're not.
no, your friends aren't your fans. They're your friends. Don't expect them
And
to
even
be.
family.
Yeah, no, family. I don't want. I know my dad listens to a lot of my stuff, but he doesn't like all my stuff. He likes some here and there. My mom definitely doesn't listen to all my stuff. She listens. She's heard some of it. Like, there's a lot of my family that probably haven't heard any of my music, but
Yeah.
I don't expect them to. I don't care. But that comes back to the joy of I'm just doing it for me. I'm not doing it for them. I also am particularly not trying to be like a musician for my career. You know, I'm a producer. It's what I work with other musicians and artist. I make songs for fun. So mine are not very, I don't spend very much time on them. I write them and record them all in like hour or two, make the beat and everything just like right there. And I'm like, cool, done, awesome, send it out. I don't ever like spend time on it. Are you enjoying recording at home, or do you miss like going into a studio?
I'm good with it at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have a studio now, but the difference in us going to a studio every week and us just having it in the other room to just like when inspiration strikes, I can immediately start working on it. I don't have to like wait till I can get into the studio next Sunday or whatever it may be. It's a nice thing just to have it all right here, basically in your pocket, because I know you're doing a lot on your phone, so it's just your whole studio's in your pocket anytime you need it, you know.
Yeah, that and the iPad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've been using that more since last time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's insane how easy it is nowadays to make songs. You can definitely bring more and more artistry into it as you progress and get better, you know? Like you can start bringing in different artists to do different stuff for your instrumentals or different things like that, bringing in backup vocalists and all that.
Yeah.
But you don't have to nowadays. Like you can get anything you need pretty much on the internet. You can even find, you know, backup vocalists and stuff on the internet, or auto-generate half that stuff nowadays, which a lot of people out there are sticklers about that. The Backlash right now, you know, Timberland, the producer, he's done a lot of like hip-hop stuff, but he's been around for years. He works with like Justin Timberlake and a lot of those guys. He just recently, I guess technically it's not signed, but he signed an AI artist to his label. Like, he makes it, but he just treats it as like this is its own artist now, and this is an artist I make stuff for. And the backlash he has got on that is insane. But who cares, man? If he wants to he's not a singer or female. He's a male rapper and beatboxer, producer, all that. So, and like he'll do some singing, but mostly rapper. So if he wants to make female songs with a AI thing, who cares, man?
Yeah.
If it's a good song, it's a good song. People are still gonna listen, even though they're gonna hate on it. It's so backwards. How is like your mentality changed after coming back to it? Like, does it make you feel real good, or is it scary, or like what kind of?
No, it's not scary, I don't think, because I had no plans of doing it. You know, I'm just kind of still trying to come to terms with the fact of how far I went so quick. When I only planned to do one song, and here I am.
Now you're doing a podcast
on what, 20 different streaming apps.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Apple and iTunes finally approved me.
Yeah, they take a second when you first start out. Spotify's usually the quickest one. Like, I can release songs, and then the next day they can be on Spotify, but it usually takes a little while for some of the other platforms.
Yeah.
Eventually, do you still use Pandora at all to listen to music?
No.
I still like it when I want to listen to random things instead of like my Spotify account.
Yeah.
But the most exciting feeling I probably had since I started releasing music was, I'm sure it's because my phone, they're all listening. It knows it's me playing stuff. But I was listening to music on Pandora, and one of my songs came on, and I was like, oh, this just randomly came on. I didn't have to play it or nothing. That was an exciting feeling. But it's interesting, like, it's almost a surreal feeling, like, when you look at all these platforms and you see yourself, or you're like, now you're a verified artist, and like you become Googleable and all that. I mean, you've done stuff in the past, and like you've already have some, internet footprint. Like, I can already find some of your stuff. I just went and showed my wife a video. It's an older video. I'm sure you know what it, but just you on just outside in like you probably at a park, like under a gazebo with like two people playing guitar, and you were just singing.
Yeah.
Just some old YouTube video.
Yeah, that was actually, I believe you're talking about the one in Mountain View.
Mm.
With,
it was literally the first thing came up when I searched your name on YouTube.
I believe I was singing with Mike Deese and Debbie Kelly. And Darren Rhodes, I believe he was there.
Mm.
And that had to be like 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah, I was showing her that because she hadn't ever heard you sing, and that was just the very first thing that popped up. And so it's just a phone recording, you know. So I mean, not like, and an old camera is even like, you know, kind of shaky, not great.
Yeah.
But she could even tell like the strong similarities in your voice then and then your voice now. That's, you know, a little pitch corrected and stuff like that. Like she can still tell like that's you.
Now me, I can definitely hear it because it's coming from me.
Yeah.
But you know, there's some that probably thinking, oh, I like the old Hank better.
No matter what you do, there's going to be your people that are like, what you were doing before was better. And then there's some people, what you're doing now is better. Like, it's you, as long as you just do it for you.
And that's what the idea for that song, The Old Ways, came to me.
Yeah.
And I wrote that, I think, in 4 minutes.
Yeah, that's fast.
Got it recorded and got it released already.
Man, that's quick.
And you haven't heard it yet because I think it just posted yesterday morning.
No, I don't think I have. I try because you've been releasing so often. Every few days or so, I'll hop back on Spotify and go to your thing and just kind of hit shuffle and see what comes on. But yeah, I'm consistently excited for it. I love the fact that you're doing it again. And I know we've talked about it already a couple times, how much Caleb always wanted you to get back into making music.
Yeah, he wanted me to get back into recording and.
Yeah, he talked about it a lot because you were. Reverb Nation was like your main thing you were releasing to for years, and were you top 10% or what were you on there? Because I know he always said something like that, how my dad's top 10% on Reverb Nation, like, or he'd brag about it a bunch.
Number one locally.
Locally, gotcha.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's been
number 70 nationwide, I think, there for a while.
Man, that's good. And for those of you that don't know, Reverb Nation is basically like country SoundCloud. It's kind of the same thing. Oh, it's not all country. There's plenty of music on there.
Yeah, there's rap,
all
rock,
sorts.
pop. Yeah.
But I like coming up. SoundCloud was like the rapper thing. Like every rapper. I mean, that same way. Like there's all sorts of music on SoundCloud, but rappers were gravitated towards that. And I always noticed more rocker and country guys gravitating towards Reverb Nation years ago.
Well, Reverb Nation was great because you could put cover songs on there, and you didn't have to worry about being hit with content ID or something. You could even post it to Facebook, and
for years you could post some videos with like full songs to Facebook and everything. But here in the recent years, the level of copyright have gone so high up. It's like you can't hardly.
Well, they've got AI and algorithms that detect a song, and I tried using like that Shazam on my songs, and it comes up with nothing.
That's good. Eventually, your song, now that you have them released, your songs will start popping up. It'll just get flagged as you. So that's cool. Or it's a cool feeling too. And you Shazam something, I'm like, this is Hank Wheeler. And you're like, yeah, nice.
Well, my main thing was making sure it didn't come up and sound like somebody else's song.
Yeah. When I very first started, before I ever made any beats, I just like would use YouTube beats to rap to and stuff, and I would always Shazam them. But they're like, they sell the rights to them on YouTube, so anybody can buy them. And if you don't buy the exclusive rights, then that means multiple people can use that beat. Yeah. So I would Shazam like a demo I made over some beat, and it would come up with like 15 different songs. And if I play them all, they're all different songs, but they're all on the exact same beat. Yeah. And that was very deterring. It made me not want to use those beats because I was like, it's just gonna sound like 15 other songs. But you know, it's good when your stuff. We've used Shazam multiple times on our own music, even the stuff we've written, like everything, all the instrumentation and all that, just to double check and make sure we aren't too close to something else. Because the level at which people are getting sued nowadays for stuff like that is crazy too. If you start making money on a song, they will come for your money.
Yeah.
But luckily, if you get absolutely no attention, usually nobody's gonna care. Like just recently, or it was a couple years back at this point, I know Pharrell and Robin Thicke got sued for their song "Blurred Lines" by the Marvin Gaye estate for like, because it sounded similar. It's way different, completely different song, but it was the vibe of the song felt like the Marvin Gaye song, and they ended up winning like they had to pay $5 million roughly for this song, and it was really some bullshit. Ed Sheeran dealt with it a few years later, getting sued over a song sounding like something else, and he used the 4 chords because like there's the 4-chord song where it's like they go through like probably 80 or 90 different songs in that song. They just it's the same 4 chords that are all these songs. It's like a majority of pop music is written with those same 4 chords. And he was sitting there. He had to come into the courtroom and basically do that. He kept playing those same chords and just switching what he was singing. And he's like, I don't understand how you're suing me for this. He went on fully to say, he's like, if I lose this lawsuit, I'm not gonna make music anymore. He's like, I'm gonna stop. He's like, because you're suing me over nothing. There's only so many chords in music, so if you can sue me over a chord progression, then like what's the point in even making music anymore if all chord progressions are gonna end up being used in some other song? Yeah. But I don't know. You gotta dogs out there playing. You gotta do your best to be original, but with how many songs there are out there, and
yeah, it's tough to come up with something.
There's like thousands of songs released a day, so the level of overlap is gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
I have songs where like, and I don't even notice till like way after the fact that you drop a line in there, and it's like eerily similar to a line in somebody else's song, but it wasn't intentional, and it's just like that happened to be what rhymed with what I was saying here. And they're different enough to where it's like, you don't necessarily notice right away, or most people might not. But like you start to worry if you do start building a name, because like you're like, man, who's gonna try and come sue me now? Because this one line is like somebody else's line. But there's a lot of overlap. What's like the biggest level of like engagement or support you think you've had? Is it like what kind of group of people has that been coming from? Is it strangers, or is it more like the people you know so far?
Probably mostly strangers.
Yeah, that seems to be the way it goes.
And that's how it was, even 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm. So were you primarily releasing covers, or did you have any originals out years ago?
I didn't have any originals out back then.
No. And then now you've got 15 after a few days.
Yeah.
It's going quick.
And back then it was hard to get even a band to play in the right key. So I was never singing in the right key.
Yeah.
And you can have the best singer in the world. If he's singing in the wrong key, it's not going to sound good.
No, absolutely.
And I think that was the thing that bothered me the most about my old recordings.
Again, you on your own music, you notice every little thing. Like if one little spot's pitchy, or there's a little voice crack or something in there that shouldn't be, it's like you'll notice it, but the other people listen and just hear a song. They just hear it for what it is, But you will nitpick and everything. That's why I can't listen to my own stuff. Because I'll sit there and be like, especially because I produced it. So now I'm like, oh man, I could have, the compression's too high. Or like, I could have EQ'd that better. Or like, all the technical stuff there. My reverb was a little too much reverb. Like, I should have, But most people are listening and they're like, it's just a song, man. I don't know. But I like cringe listening back to any old stuff. And I'm sure as you progress, because you're doing a lot of your own stuff now, you'll give it 6 months from now, depending on where you are from there, you're going to go back and listen to your very first ones from this time back and be like, ugh, I could have done that better. I could have fixed this better.
I'm kind of already doing that.
It happens. That's one of the main reasons I don't generally listen to my own stuff, because I can't, it becomes so hard to listen to it just as a song, like for what it is. I just am nitpicking.
And you'll find something different each time you listen to it.
Mm-hmm. And the more and more I work on music, the more it becomes hard to listen to just music in general, because now I'm like studying and listening to all the stuff there. I'm like, what did they put vocal layers? Like, well, how much reverb's on this? What did they do here? You know, I'm like listening to every little detail of the song, which most people aren't doing that. Most people just hear it as a whole.
Yeah.
And I can't do that anymore. I separate everything when I'm listening.
Yeah, and a lot of people turn on music while they're doing something else, and they're not even paying attention, really, to the words so much. You know.
Yeah, I talk about that a lot when I bring people in here to write for the first time, because a lot of people are very nervous to write, or sometimes people have already written some stuff, or they have words, but they don't have any music. But we'll come in, and we'll do, like, we lay mumble tracks a bunch, so we'll come in, and if the beats, you know, just beats going, and we're just like, and then we'll chop that all up, and it's just gibberish. You're not really saying anything. But if the melodies sound good, and you can make it all sound like chop it all up and put spots where you like it, if you can make it sound like a song for the level of, like, exactly what you were saying, if I'm, like, cleaning the house and I put it on in the background, so I'm not paying attention to words, and it just feels like a song.
Yeah.
That's when you know, like, that's when we know we got one. So we try to write words to match those melodies, and it's a very useful tool. I know a lot of big artists nowadays do that, where they'll just come in and they'll, like, start the beat, and they'll just lay down a bunch of gibberish. But if the gibberish sounds good, now you just got to make it make sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very useful tool. So normally I got a little sign over here, and I've kind of switched up the way we're chatting here, because you're not just starting out, which a lot of the people I'm doing stuff with are just now starting. You're coming back to it.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of interesting perspectives to dive into about that. What's the biggest differences that you notice just in the music industry in general, like from then to now?
Just the technology, really, that people are using, that I didn't even know existed until a month ago.
Yeah.
But, you know, even in the independent music world, it's always been a little cutthroat. You know, because 15 years ago on Facebook, me and all the other independent artists were sharing each other's music to our profile. Now it seems like it's more like, well, you share my music, but I'm not going to share yours.
Yeah.
It's you know, I don't get that. I would gladly share anybody's music.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Oh, it's okay. This is empty. Sorry. No, there's a lot of that. A lot of people it's me, and there's a lot less support, I feel like. But I think a lot of that comes from the fact that, like I was saying, there's thousands of songs put out a day. So people have the mentality of that if you're winning, you're beating me. And I don't look at it that way. I'm like, we can all take a piece of the pie. We can all try to, support. I'm constantly sharing stuff or doing what I can. I'm putting videos out all the time, telling artists, like, if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. We'll do stuff like this. I'll bring you on the podcast. We'll get, and from this, I'll have all sorts of clips. I'm sure you've seen, like, the vertical, like, short reels and stuff. From, like, one of these podcasts, I can cut, like, 70 or more clips out. So that's a lot of promotion for people to get to know you. And nowadays, people buy from people they like. Like, sure, your song might sound great, but people become fans when they become fans of you, not necessarily your music. Because there's some people that are really big that, like, their music's not great, but everybody loves their personality. So stuff like this where you can get to know the artist is so beneficial for artists nowadays. But, man, like, even just me reaching out to people, like, hey, can I do this for you? They're all like, what are you trying to get from me? Like, it's just how everybody is nowadays. I'm like, I just want to help you. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm getting a podcast episode and some clips, but every one of those are also free promotion for you, But people in the music industry don't look at stuff like that nowadays. They're like, nah, you want something. You're trying to get something. And then everybody wants stuff for free. I just had a kid, he's probably like 15, messaging me on TikTok like the other day, trying to get me to engineer his songs for him, and then he's trying to get me to make beats for him, and then he's trying to get me to full-on produce tracks for him. And I was like, all right, well, I mean, it's gonna cost a little bit. He's like, all right, how much? And I'm like, I mean, bottom end, if I'm just engineering your song, maybe like $200. On top end, if I'm doing everything, you're coming in here, I'm making a beat for you, I'm doing all that, I'm like, maybe like 600 to 800. Like that's honestly ridiculously cheap for a lot of studio stuff. Plus, I don't charge hourly for studio time like a lot of people do. A lot of studios you walk into, it's like $40 an hour just to walk in the door and start doing stuff. And your hour's up, they're like, all right, get out. You're only paying for an hour. I'm like, we'll spend months working on the track if you need to. Come in as many times as you want. I'll only charge you when we're ready to finish the track. And the second I said that, how much it'd be, he just stopped answering me. Which is funny because he hit me up and he kept like, every time I wouldn't answer right away, he's like, you there? You there? He's like, can I get your phone number? You there? Can I get your phone number? Were you trying to, let's do this? And the second I was like, it's going to cost like, even, which what I think he was wanting was on the lower end. I was like, so it's like $200, maybe 300. And he's just like, nope, quit answering. I'm like, I get it. Like, you're doing stuff on your phone right now for free. But when you come to like the guys with the equipment and the professionals doing their stuff here, which I'm not great by any means, but I'm figuring it out as I go. But like, you gotta, everybody just wants what they want, special treatment. There's so many people want special treatment. The amount of artists that come into studios, not just my studios, but I've seen countless producers talking about it, and that just expect you to be like, I fuck with this so hard, you're so good, I'm just gonna do it all for free because I believe in you so much. And I'm like, I don't care if I do believe in you, and your music might be great. I still have to get paid. I still got to eat, you know. It's still my job. And then also, like, even if the song's great, so many artists aren't promoting to the level of how they need to promote. They aren't coming and doing podcasts. They aren't making videos and doing all that stuff and throwing content out about their songs. So it's like, if I do this whole track for you for free and then you just never promote your song, I'm like, well, what am I getting from that? Like, nothing, you know? So it's become a weird thing what people expect in the music industry. They just want, it's me, and it used to be like, hey, let's work on this project together. Let's do this whole thing, but it doesn't feel like that nowadays. It feels like, what can I get from you? And if I can't get nothing from you, screw you. Share my stuff for me, but I ain't gonna share your stuff. Which happens a lot. But
it's a shame because doing that used to help us. You know, we would help each other.
Those dogs are getting at it right now.
And I didn't care if somebody shot to number one. You know, I'd say great. Maybe I was at number 40.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
No.
But helping share their music helped get them up there. You know, and then they would share mine, and that's how I got so many fans on Reverb Nation. But now it's just, once in a while you'll see somebody share something, but it's not like it used to be.
No, it definitely is not. Man, I am gonna gripe at these dogs for a second. Give me just 2 seconds. Oh gosh. Hey, quit it, Ruthie. No. It's that Chihuahua just going right. Hello. It's funny, as I've had to get up multiple times in podcasts, and a lot of times I'm like, that's the beauty of editing. I can go snap and I'm back. But what's funny is most of the time I don't even do that. I just leave it in. But it's not in the short form, but in the long form, I'm like, I don't care. It's a podcast. It's just real, us chatting about whatever. Lost my train of thought though from that. What were we just talking about? Oh, sharing, like everybody working together. Yeah, it does feel way more cutthroat. And the music industry it feels so different because like I try to be just supportive in general of whatever anybody's doing, but I genuinely feel like a lot of that comes from my history with like skateboarding. Like, you show up to the skate park and it didn't matter if you were the sucky kid or if you were the best kid at the skate park. You still wanted to play skate with the other guys. You're still encouraging them. They're like, they land their trick and everybody cheers, even if it's a trick you've landed hundreds of times and it's easy for you. It's just, we're there to support because we all love this thing we're doing.
Yeah.
And I wish music was more like that, where it's like musicians just want to support other musicians because we are all the same. We all love what we're doing. That's why we're doing it, you know. But I feel like it's lost a lot of that, and I think a lot of it is social media based, where everyone just wants to be mean. You know, everybody wants to get on there and critique or push your stuff down, so hopefully their stuff rises up. And I'm like, I just don't get with that. I'm just all trying to support. I'm just trying to be as nice as I can with everybody and share stuff, promote stuff. Again, try to bring people on to do whatever I can to help them. But it's a rarity to find people like that in the music industry. But I feel like that's why a lot of the people that are like that are lower level independent artists and will probably continue to stay lower level independent artists, because a big trend I've noticed in the music industry is it's not so much whether or not you're the best, it's more the people. Like you'll get into so many more rooms just because people like you and you're a good person to be around. They enjoy having you around. You know, like I'll work with artists down the line that again, I'm not the greatest producer or beat maker or any of that stuff. I enjoy it. I do it. I'm getting better every day as I'm working on it. But I'm sure down the line I'm going to end up working with bigger artists specifically for the fact that they like me compared to the producer that's just like, in, do your thing, out. All right, I got the next client, come on. I'm like, I mean, that's fine if you're running strictly as a business. But I try to just, again, be the more supportive and friendly you are, the better it'll be for you in the long run, in my opinion. So that's why it's so important to just try your best to ignore the hate, because there's going to be a lot of it. And as you continue releasing, you will start to get the hateful comments, or you'll start to get people talking crap on stuff. But then what's funny is you'll get a mix. You get like 4 or 5 comments, or I'll get like 4 or 5 comments in a row that are all mean. And then you get one person comment, and they're like, man, how did you do that? That was sick. And then the next one's like, lame. Why? I don't understand. One thing that used to just be, and still honestly is like, it's just a joy to me, is when I hop on my phone. Affordable care. One thing that's always been a joy to me, been doing it probably since like Instagram first came out when I was a young teenager, is when I start scrolling on, which it wasn't videos at the point, it was all photos originally. But like I'll start scrolling through videos on my phone, and I love just dropping nice supportive comments. Just like when I see something, I'm just like, you know, some lady doing some awesome stuff for her kids, I'm like, you go girl, you get it. And I love doing that just because I'm sure it makes them feel good when they see it, but it makes me feel good to do that. So like I've always called it selfish selflessness. Like I'm being selfless in the act of like trying to do things for other people, trying to be nice and supportive, but I'm doing it all selfishly because it makes me feel good. So like, but I don't understand how somebody can feel good about basically being the old internet troll, you know, hopping on the internet and just being mean. I don't understand how that makes people feel okay.
Well, the popular thing now is people join groups of things that they hate.
Yeah, just to be that guy in the comments.
Just to be a jerk.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I've never understood the being mean for the sake of being mean.
Me, I don't do that. If there's a group about something that I'm not interested in or I don't like, I don't join it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to join it just to go in and say, oh, you guys are all wrong, and I'm right.
Yeah, I actually just recently, I joined a Facebook group, which if anybody on there watching Facebook that's a skateboarder, it's Skaters Over 30. It was just a page. I'm not even over 30 yet, but I'm getting there. But man, it is the most like supportive Facebook group I think I've ever been a part of. But it comes back to that I was talking about, skateboarding has always been that way. It's like always been, you show up at the skate park and it doesn't matter if you're guy, you're girl, you're black, you're white, it didn't matter. Like you show up and you got a skateboard, it's like, what's up, bud? You want to play a game of skate? And that Facebook group is just, it's like 30, 40-year-old people just now getting into skateboarding and learning how to do an ollie, or like the very, you know, the basics. And there's just so many positive comments, people giving each other tips and all that. And I just wish the music industry had a little bit more of that. I'm sure there's probably is your groups that like it's just harder to find like the groups of supportive people like that. Also, I try not to spend too much time on social media nowadays since my job has become social media. Because, like, my job's music, but in order to do music, you have to promote music. So my job is posting 3 to 5 times a day on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I don't use Twitter/X, whatever it's called now. But that's a lot of posting. And I find myself getting very addicted to my phone because of that. Until I started doing this music stuff again, I'd taken all social media off my phone because I didn't want to do it. I was like, I just don't want anything to do with it. And then we started doing music, and my first thought was, damn it, I'm going to have to download all this stuff again. And it becomes so addicting. I catch myself all the time like scrolling on Facebook videos, and I'm like, what am I doing? I've been here like 20 minutes. And then I'll close the app, and then out of instinct, I'll immediately tap back on Facebook and open it again, and I'm like, I just got off that. What am I doing? It's addicting, and I don't like it, especially because everyone's so mean on there. It's like it just makes half time you get on there, and it makes you feel worse about your day or your life or whatever you're doing. And I don't like that. I like being in my little studio, tuning everybody out, working on my projects, having fun while I'm doing it, and then releasing it to the world to do what they want with. Either enjoy it, hate it, I don't care. Do what you want with it. But it's a fickle thing. Social media.
Yeah. And I've been on Facebook for 17 years.
Whew. I probably have pretty close to that. I started one when I was 13, maybe. So
yeah, I started out on MySpace.
Yeah.
I think in 2006.
Mm-hmm. With MySpace, I literally made one, and then it seemed like it was maybe a week or two until Facebook was becoming the big thing. So like I hardly even got to use MySpace, which I wish Facebook had what MySpace had, to where when you click on someone's profile, music starts playing, like, because you could pick whatever sounds you wanted on there and music. Because that'd be super cool that someone clicks on like yours and one of your songs starts playing and they immediately start hearing you. That's the thing. Facebook, steal that from MySpace. Come on. That would be cool.
Yeah, 2008. July of 2008 was when I got on Facebook. Back then,
it's crazy that you remember that.
Back then, it was you had no news media on there at all.
It was strictly whoever you followed or your friends.
Yeah, and you just talked. You had blogs where you just chatted, basically.
Yeah, I remember poking people.
Yeah,
yeah, that's such an interesting feature.
Once like CNN and Fox News and all them got on there, people started fighting with each other. And you can go to any of them news outlets, even our local, like KTLO and the Baxter Bulletin. You get on there, and you can't leave a comment without somebody coming in and telling you how wrong you are for believing the way you believe.
Everything, man.
So I don't even comment on most things.
No, it's so much negativity. I posted a video on, I can't remember which platform got the comment, because again I post on like all the 4 big ones. But I posted a video, just me, like I whipped out my phone while I was laying on my bed, and I was like, I just want to help artists, not even just artists, just you be the best version of yourself that you can. And somebody commented and like, sounds like a really lazy way to deal with your own shortcomings. Okay. Me making a post about wanting to be helpful, and you're like, sounds like you got problems. And I'm like, okay, thank you for your insight. I thank you for your therapy session I didn't ask for. But man, it's like, even when your whole goal, because like everything I'm doing, it's why I even named my company Never Ready, is because I was never ready to commit. So I made this podcast. I start working with artists. I'm like trying to get people to believe in themselves and their dreams. And like all I'm trying to do is like be that beacon of positivity for people. Like that's my real goal and passion. Like I've become a producer and videographer and podcast host and all this stuff. But all I'm really trying to do is just help people to believe in themselves and believe that they can do things with their life if they want to. But still, like, I'm met with so much negativity and people that just think I'm phony, and I'm like, you can think what you want, but I'm just trying to help you. Yeah. Like half the time I'll respond to the mean comments with like, some positivity or try to be nice. I can't tell you how many times someone said, "This is awful," and I say, "Thank you." Yeah. I'm like, "Thanks, man. Appreciate you watching." It's funny to me, but
well, for me, I would much rather someone be honest.
mm-hmm.
I don't want them to say, "Oh, I love that song," when they really hate it.
Mm-hmm.
If you hate it, tell me.
Yeah.
And some people are afraid to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then there's the ones that maybe like it, but they'll say the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
You can't figure people out.
No.
I quit trying to figure people out years ago.
Yeah, you just got to do your own thing and kind of let them follow suit. The haters will be haters, and the supporters will be supporters. So, but yeah, I get what you're saying there too. I definitely don't want the phony, like, oh, this is good. And you get a lot of that from like family. You play something and you can tell they don't like it, but they're like, yeah, it's good. And I'm like, you don't think it's good. But again, you're not making music for them. You're making it entirely for you, which is, it was just so important of a mindset to have when it comes to the music industry, because the people that are trying to make it for, like, are chasing the hits and trying to be like big and popular, it's going to be so much harder for them and so much more of a letdown when they don't achieve that. When you make some music or anything you're doing, when you just do what you're doing for the sake of doing it because you love it, that's the beauty of the actual thing itself. You know, you can't chase the attention like a lot of people like to do.
And not everybody makes it.
No,
even if you're great.
No, again, thousands of people release music every day. There's so many more artists than there have ever been that are releasing music, and it's only like the top 5% that are actually making a living on it. So it's like it's a small margin of artists that are making a living on music. And with the way streaming is nowadays, as opposed to like, used to be I sell 100 CDs at $10 a piece, I'm making some money. Now it's like you make 1,000 streams of one song and you made $4.
Yeah.
Because on that Spotify's metrics says you make 0.004 cents per one stream.
Yeah.
So you got to get 1,000 streams to make $4. That's insane. So today to make money, you have to build a name and a brand that you can leverage in other ways. Like, obviously, I'm not the musician. I'm doing studio stuff, so like I can make my money there. And you can make money building a catalog with lots of music, but you need lots of music so that you're consistently getting streams on multiple songs. But you got to, like, say, my merch, like this shirt or this hat, it's like if people like me, they might buy this kind of stuff, which I could make like $5 to $10 on a shirt when it took me 1,000 streams of a song to make $5 or $4, you know? So it's like you have to, if you're really trying to make it in this business, you just are building a name. Like, the music is what brings people in. They like your music. They start to like you from this other stuff. Then they buy stuff from you, whatever it may be. And that's how you make it in today's day and age. But so many people just want to, like, put the music out and become the #1 artist. So I'm like, it's going to take more than that.
Yeah, I don't know how they get away with paying, because it's kind of crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making the same amount on streams as Jason Aldean or Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's crazy. It's like you really have to be like a multi-million listeners a month artist to be making any money from streaming. And it's still, compared to what album sales were, you're not making shit. That's why, like, you see artists selling their catalogs all the time, or you see artists like freaking AC/DC just did that show, and the internet was trolling hard because he does not sound like he used to sound singing. Yeah. But he's like freaking 70. Yeah, I'm like, well, you don't expect him to sound like he sounded when he was like 20.
Almost like Willie Nelson at 92. You shouldn't expect him to sound like he did in 1982.
Absolutely.
But he's still out there doing it.
Yeah, it's sometimes you find an artist that's doing it for the sake of they just love doing it still.
Yeah.
But time and time again, you see all these old artists with so many hits that were making a killing back when it was albums, and now that it's streaming, it's like they have to go out and tour again because they're broke, or they have to sell their entire catalog so that they are no longer collecting royalties. They sell it to somebody. Like, I was seeing rumors just like yesterday. about Justin Bieber selling his catalog for like 200 million or something because he's like getting closer to broke. That's internet rumors. I don't know if that's true or not. It was literally just like yesterday, so you start seeing more stuff. But so many artists have done that because they're like, I can take this $200 million check right now, non-taxed, and be like, bam. Or I can continue to hope my music streams like it has been, and then all of that also gets taxed, all the money from there. So it's like you can kind of gamble on yourself and hope that your streams are going to do okay, but that means you have to be promoting your ass off consistently. Yeah. Or you can sell your whole catalog, sell all your music, and then they have to promote it if they want to make money, but you got this big old check right away. Yeah. But then it's a one-time thing. You lose like the rights to all your music and all that stuff going on. But it's just time and time again, so many old artists are either selling their stuff or are touring until the day they die. Like, didn't one of ZZ Top's, the two dudes, didn't one of them pass away recently?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I could be wrong on that, but I was thinking one of them did. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into it after this. But I know they were touring, like, still recently, like, doing all this stuff. But I want to say one of the two main dudes passed. And then even after that, I think so. Again, don't hate me if I'm wrong, Internet. But I think so because I want to say at that next show, they put the one who passed away's hat on the mic stand next to him, so it was like he was kind of there still. But like, even all the way to that point, like they're old and dying off, and still having to tour because they got to make some money, got to bring in, and touring isn't even feasible nowadays. Like unless you're a big name, like unless you're selling out 2,000-3,000 seats at a stadium, like you're barely breaking even. Like Blade's playing, we were talking with him earlier. He's got 4 shows this weekend. He's not going to make much, especially the amount of travel. He got an RV he's taking, or a camper he's taking. He's going to have to pay for. I almost sneezed. Oh, it went away. So but he's doing all that for the sake of promotion and for the sake of that he loves doing shows. So he goes and he's doing all that just to barely kind of break even. But it's not like, unless you're getting to the point where you're really selling out bigger stadiums, you have to, like right now he's playing like bars and restaurants and all that kind of stuff. So like he's getting paid. But when you get to the point of doing a tour, you're renting the venue. A lot of times you have to pay out. You have to basically rent the venue and then purchase all of the seats, like the seat tickets. So you're basically buying all the tickets yourself and then turn around and listing tickets for more than whatever you paid so that you can make your money back from renting the venue and all the seats and then making money from that. And if you are part of a label, then that label does, I can't remember the term for it, it's like peanuts parking and another thing. But anyways, the label is making hella money off the $10 hot dogs they're selling at the venue. They're making money on all of that stuff. So if being independent, or even when you're a label, it's like you really have to be selling out shows and promoting your ass off to get people into the seats to try to make something from shows, because you're dumping so much money into the show. But being independent, it's like you have to run all of that stuff yourself to make sure you're making money from all that stuff, or really sell out shows. And you can either like show up and cut corners or cut costs as much as possible and try to like save as much money as possible, but then you're gonna like put on just like a crap show, no setup, no nothing. You're like, I just got my minimal equipment, I'm out here on the stage, cool. Or you can spend some money on the show, get lighting, get if you like pyrotechnics, like the fire, all that stuff, whatever you want to do, like you can put on a good show and show your fans you actually give a shit about them. But then you're not going to make much money because you spent most of the money that's coming from the show on the show. So like touring is just, it's a hard thing nowadays, especially without like the backing. And I mean, labels for years have been screwing people. So like I love the independent level of what is going on nowadays, because that anybody can just pick up their phone and make a song and put it out. When before it's like, you have to already be kind of good. The label finds you. They sign you with like a $30 million bonus, but that's a big bonus. Probably not that big. They sign you with like a $2 million bonus, and then that bonus is basically a loan. Like, they're basically just loan sharks. They're like, all right, we're going to give you a bonus. You think you're rich now because we just gave you $2 million and you got a record deal. But now you have to go do all the touring, which you're only making a fraction of the money back on that. They're making money off all the vendors and all the stuff that's there. You're paying for everything on the tour that you don't realize you're paying for. So it's like, we got catering at every event. We got motel rooms everywhere along the way. We bought 10,000 rolls of toilet paper for the tour just because. And it's like, all that comes out of the artist's pocket. And then the label's like, okay, so we gave you $2 million. And then you also spent another $500,000 on your tour. So you have to pay us all that back before we start giving you any money. And then they also take, like, in some cases, they have all of the royalties of your song until you paid back your initial, like, loan. Or you're getting, like, 10% of your song. And so it's like, how the hell are you supposed to pay back $2.5 million when they're making all the money off everything you do? So it's like, they own all your music. So you're making 10% of your royalties, and you have to hope that that works its way up to $2 million to pay them back before you can ever even get out of that contract. Because now, that's why so many artists get their deal. They get their record deal. They blow up. They're huge for a little bit, and then they disappear.
Yeah.
Because they're just in debt. They just owe their label all this money. They got $2 million. They bought a nice house. They bought a nice car. They're thinking, I'm going to be making money now. And it's like, no, that $2 million is pretty much all you're going to make right now.
Yeah.
It's not fun the way it goes for artists. Or luckily, though, the independent thing rising up, like, you can avoid a lot of that. But you got to do everything yourself. Yeah. Like, you don't have the label backing you, which nowadays labels don't even sign artists unless they already have traction and attention. So it's like, why do I need you if I'm already doing good?
Yeah.
They just want to get the kids that think like, oh, a record deal, it's going to fix all my problems. I'm going to throw a bunch of money in your face. But it's no different than like a loan shark who's like, sure, I'll give you $6,000, but we're going to do 30% interest. And you're like, okay. And you got to pay it back quick. Take your time. Go ahead. Take your time. Pay me back all this money. And it's really just like a highway robbery, pretty much the way labels come about it. So I encourage any artist, stay independent. Work on your own stuff. Figure out how to do it. Find a buddy or two that want to work with you and make some stuff happen.
Yeah, another problem when somebody does get discovered and they get that first big check, they want to live way beyond their means right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean by the big house,
they go
big
buy
car.
all this stuff, not realizing. You have to think ahead.
That's why so many artists, like big artists you watch growing up, they get their deal, they buy like a mansion, and then you see a few years later they're selling that mansion. And they're trying to buy like a little 3-bedroom house somewhere so they can be, doing all right. Because again, it's like the top 5% of artists or so that are actually making a music or living on just their music. And a lot of them are independent at this point. Like, they're doing everything themselves. They're making all the money. But man, one benefit you got of how fast you're writing, and take advantage of that while you can. Just stock up on songs, because catalog with how small you get on streams, catalog. You want as many songs as you possibly can. Because like I have like 1,000, say like 1,500 streams on average on most of my songs probably. So if that one song, if I had only released one song and it's got 1,500 streams, I made like $6, right? Yeah. But I have 20-something songs under my name that I have 100% of that I am making, or that I've made like $6 on each of them, right? And then I also produce other artists' songs that I'm getting smaller cuts on. So if they get another 30,000 streams on their stuff, I'm getting small cuts of that. So it adds up more, which still I've got like probably getting closer to overall, but between everything I've got credits on, like closer to 50,000 streams. But I've only made like $80. So like if that would have been 50,000 like albums, oh my God, I'd be rolling in money right now. Which honestly is one thing I love about the fact that vinyls are coming back, and I know that's why so many artists are jumping on it. They're like, yeah, I'm making limited press of my vinyls.
Yeah, they can make a lot of money that way.
Yeah, you can sell your vinyl for $25, and it cost $5 to make each one, and you're selling them $25 pop. You're making $20 per vinyl rather than 0.004 cents per song like you were on streaming.
A lot of them are $35.
Yeah, no,
and
even more. Yep. Yeah. And then even artists coming out with like their own like record player. Like they're like, this one is it's got my name on the top, you know, and all this. So it's like that's exactly what I mean when I was saying you have to build a name as an artist to leverage it in other ways. Because it used to just be the album sales and the music. Now the music, everybody can stream it for free on YouTube if they want to. They don't have to pay nothing. So you're making a few cents on like ads if you're big enough to the point where your videos have ads. But if your videos don't have ads, you ain't making no money. So YouTube and all the platforms too, they'll start paying you like once you get to the point where you're getting multiple, like if you hop on TikTok and you got a bunch of videos with like millions of views, TikTok will start paying you to a certain degree. But it's a lot more like the Spotify stuff where it's like you got millions of views and you would think that'd be like maybe a couple $1,000s, and they're like, here's your 40 cents you just made for this video. So the same idea there is catalog. It's like if you have 700 videos and 500 of them are millions of views, they're probably paying you decent. But if you've got 30 videos and one of them has got 1 million views, like they're like, here's your 5 cents, bud. Like that's no, I don't need that. So, but even social media is a way that artists can leverage themselves. Like you can get to the point where like if you get big enough on a certain platform, the platform will be paying you to continue posting on there and doing stuff. Like I can't remember the numbers, and they're probably off too because a lot of the stuff you see on the internet is just made up. But like I know The Rock is he big one. Like he gets so many. It might even be like 100 plus or more dollars, like per, maybe even 1,000, like per Instagram post. Every time he makes a post, he makes this much money. Yeah. So it's like because you're drawing attention to the app. So the app's like, we'll pay you to keep drawing attention to our app. But that's another example of a way that artists need to leverage. So like you need to be on all these platforms. You need to be on all this stuff if you're trying to make a living in music. If you're already making a living and it's a side hobby, great, fun, more power to you. I kind of wish that was the case for me. So I don't have to stress it. But working completely in the music industry here, doing studio stuff and all that, it's like there's a lot that goes into trying to make it a living. Yeah. Which is why I'm currently going to be like second my car. I need to get a battery for it now. I thought mine was going to be fine, but the second that's good, I'm getting a second job on top of it. I'm going to try to get nights at the gas station down the road just to bring in a little extra money. Only solely because like we're trying to move, trying to move, and I also have a baby coming and all that stuff. Like music becomes a lot harder to manage because essentially I get paid like it's a part-time job. Like I have weeks where I do great, and then I have weeks where like I don't make anything. So it really depends. But now it's hard to manage all of it and trying to have an actual life on top of it rather than just being locked in your studio consistently making stuff. But man, I kind of went out on a tangent there about labels and stuff. But man, every time I get to talking about the way the music industry works nowadays, it can be disheartening on the surface level looking at everything. But the more you learn and the more you find out different ways that artists can leverage their name that they've built, the better you start to feel about it. So it's just keep on keeping on, keep putting stuff out, building a name, because that's going to be the biggest asset you have is your name.
Yeah, and probably the thing going for me is I'm not trying to be famous.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to get rich because I know I'm not.
So, well, you never know. It could happen.
So for me,
it's purely for the joy of doing it again, which is
And one person commented on the Eleanor and Caleb song a couple weeks ago and said, this made me think of my son who died.
Yeah, I know we had talked about it lately, but that's like, for me, the greatest hope as an artist.
That's better than getting money.
Yeah.
For the song.
To help someone feel, just to give someone a voice that they can relate to, like anytime you hear a song and it makes you tear up, makes you feel emotional, like you feel connected to that song, and when you are the one who wrote that song and somebody else feels connected to it, it's like the best feeling, Yeah. I think that's why my dad likes that one I was talking about earlier where I play guitar and sing, because it's all about just like starting a family and having a life, like going through that. so it's more like emotional, and like, you know, he resonates with it, so he likes it. But and that's again exactly the point of the songs analogy I was making. Like, you're writing songs that are impactful and do mean something to people. So that lady, or was it lady? Yeah. I think every time she'll probably listen to that song for the rest of her life, because she'll listen to it and she'll always think of her child, you know. Yeah. So I'll continue to listen to, you know, Caleb's song, I'm sure, forever. I have some of my music that I do actually listen to every once in a while are the songs that I've made about Caleb, because it helps me. It's not because I don't listen to them often, so when I go do, sometimes I forget what's even in them. But like, sometimes you just want to be emotional, you know, you want to feel and like kind of let it out. So when you have a song that perfectly relates to how you feel, it can help aid that process. So it becomes like a therapy, even just to listen to it, you know. And that's a beautiful thing. That's like the greatest hope in my mind for any artist, or that it should be for any artist, is that your music can relate to somebody and make them feel something. Because a lot of my music is just like uppity, like, yeah, cool, it's a little vibe for a little while, and then you don't care after a month. But when you write something that really resonates, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of your music comes from like real deep places like that. Like, I don't know if I've heard one from you that's just like generic for the sake of writing a song, you know.
Yeah, well, there are a couple generic ones.
I mean, everybody's got some. It's a good just practice to have, even just to keep yourself in the flow of writing songs, because like not every day you're gonna feel like either you know, emotional in general. You might not feel like I'm writing a super happy song today or a super sad song today. You might just be like, I'm just gonna tell a story about something, you know, make something up. Yeah. I do that. I'm in a happy marriage, and I've written multiple breakup songs just because like that's just how I felt that day. I was in here and just it fit with the beat, and I just come out with something like that. And it's funny enough, is a lot of people like those ones too. I guess, yeah, because they relate to it, because breakups are an easy one to write about in general, and everybody's been through a breakup, so everybody can relate to it. Yeah, how has you know, like, started doing this again? How does it make you feel? Does it give you like a sense of excitement, or like does it make you anxious? Like, what has changed like mentally from getting back into it?
I wouldn't say it's stressful or anxiety type, because I had no plans to do it. You know, I thought, I'm going to write this song about Caleb, and that's the end. But then the next day, I started getting more ideas. And then more ideas, and it just kept going.
Got snowballed from there.
But I didn't expect to ever see myself on, like, Spotify or Tidal and all the other ones. So I'm still sitting back looking at that, thinking, how the heck did I get here from one song?
Yeah. Well, it's exactly what the point of my whole Never Ready thing is here is you took the initiative and made, even though it you know, seemed small in the moment, you made a subtle commitment to yourself, saying like, I'm gonna write this, like, at least one song. And from that commitment of doing that one thing, it has snowballed into now you're on all these streaming platforms. Now you've got 15 or so songs out and more written, and it all comes from that, like, just saying, I'm gonna commit to something I want to do, which most people are so scared to ever do that, to take that leap, you know, and to try something for themselves.
I think the biggest thing was I had kind of promised Caleb that I would, and so I did that one song, and I thought, you know, I kept my promise, and it just keeps going, it seems like. But
I know he'd be real proud and real happy to see it. Next step is we got to get Hank in here doing something, because he always wanted Hank to be rapping or making a song too, you know.
Hank was writing a lot of songs.
I know, he's written so many. I know he's probably going to be watching this episode. Hank, get in here. Let's do a song. Because, man, yeah, Caleb, I have zero doubt in my mind that if he was still here, he would be my number one partner in all this. Like, he absolutely would. We were always brainstorming different businesses or things we wanted to do, but it was always like a joint thing. Like, what were we gonna do together? So like again, there's zero doubt in my mind that he would have been here doing all this with me, and we would have probably already had more songs from you going at that point. We would have for sure had Hank in here because he wouldn't have let him off the hook. He's a fan of you guys. He was always big. He was showing me. I remember sitting in your shop as little kids and him making Hank come out to the shop just to rap for me because he's like, man, my brother's rapping. It's good. It's awesome. He's rapping. You gotta come out and show him some raps. And then we're watching Hank's old YouTube videos of him rapping that nowadays we'd all probably cringe to, and he'd probably cringe to it looking at it. But it was awesome. Like looking, he looked up to it, and like, I'm sure you doing music and then Hank rapping is part of what led to Caleb picking up a guitar. And that dude was like a freaking prodigy on a guitar. He so fast. He got good. We started the same day because he convinced me. It was my 16th birthday. He convinced me to buy a guitar at Big Steve's. We were there, and he was like, we were just skating around town because he came and stayed with me in Mountain Home. And he's like, buy a guitar. Buy this guitar we were looking at. And I was like, I guess. Like, I didn't really care to learn. And then I bought it, and we went home, and he kept playing it the whole time we were there. And then I let him borrow it for like 2 months. My little red electric didn't have an amp or nothing, but he was learning right away. So it's like I basically bought my first guitar for him to play, and then he got that little black ESP, and then he gave me my red one back, and he just never stopped. He was super good. Every time he walked in my house, first thing he did was pick up my guitar and start playing. So he would have Blade said a bunch of times because Blade has learned lead guitar throughout this whole thing because he was always a rhythm guy. But he's said countless times he wishes Caleb was here because he never would have learned lead. He would have just had Caleb doing lead because Caleb was so freaking good at what he was doing. Yeah. It was insane how fast that dude got good at guitar.
And he was writing music too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, no, he was writing all sorts of stuff. He actually is the reason I started writing raps or music or anything because he had it was when he was staying with me just up the road from your house. He had me come in his room, and he's like, sit down with me, we're going to write a rap. I was like, okay. It was entirely his idea, and I feel like it was one of those things where he always wanted to do it, but he would push somebody else to do it with him, so he'd feel more comfortable sitting there and doing it, you know? So he made me sit there and write a rap with him, and funny enough, that's actually my part, or my stuff that I had written is a song that's out now. But it all spawned from him basically forcing me to come into the room and sit down with him and write something. Because I never thought I would write music or do anything, and now I've got 20 or 30 songs out and produced on all these songs, and all that really spawned from Caleb being like, get in here, we're going to write a rap. So we did, and it was fun. Man, honestly, I know, like, I think either you guys or Hank had his phone. There's probably still multiple raps and songs in his notes on his phone there because that's what we were just writing on. We were writing on our phones, sitting there. We had a lot of nights in my living room just playing beats on YouTube on the TV and sitting there just trying to write stuff. Mason Struhl would come over, and we'd all sit there and just write and have fun making stuff. And a lot of it wasn't good. It was just us learning how to, start writing rhymes or anything. But it was so fun. And those moments are really what snowballed into everything I'm doing now. Man, like I said, Caleb would definitely be my number one partner in all this if he was here. But at the same time, I'm not entirely sure if I would have ended up starting all this if he was still here, because his passing is what made me leave, made me start or end up here where I'm at and start doing everything that I was doing, because I got real depressed after that. So, just uprooted my whole life, gave up my business and everything I was doing, and left. And through doing all that, another kind of snowball effect, I just ended up here and ended up building a studio and working on music and doing all that. So it's an interesting thing. I very much wish he was here and a part of all this, but I'm not sure if this all would have started without going through what we had gone through without him, Or if he always wanted you to write more music, but if he hadn't passed, there's a chance that you never would have done it again. You would have just been one of those pipe dreams. Like, hey, come on, write something, So it sucks how things go down, but everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I miss him every day. I know you do too.
Yeah.
But there's not a day goes by that I don't think about him. But that's an entire another podcast getting into talking about him. But yeah, I got him on my leg. But yeah, he probably the simultaneously best and worst dude I've ever known. Because we love him to death, but we got at each other so much. But that's just best friends, like we're fighting one day, best friends the next. But either way, we always came back around. We're like brothers, But I remember so many times we used to as mocks, not really the right word, I guess. Oops. But we would like mimic you, because Caleb would he would tell me like, come stay the night this weekend, and I'm like, all right. We're middle school. I'm like, okay, but I'm like, you asked your mom this time, right? He's like, yeah, totally. And then I'd get there, and then your mom, she'd come in and be like, so when's Blake going home? And he'd be like, oh, he's not. And then I'd be like, oh man, here we go again. And then she'd just look at him like, Caleb, don't do this, Caleb. and then he'd go out there, and then me and him be up being loud all night, and we'd hear you every once in a while just like slam a cabinet, like, I'm tired of shit. And then, so we would always be like joking or walking around like mimicking you. Every time something would happen we didn't like, we'd like slam something like, I'm tired of shit. But it was just a fun little thing. But man, looking back now though, those are still some of the best times. Wouldn't change it. Wouldn't change the man. We were little delinquents half the time. We were getting in trouble. Him more so than me. He was like sent off a couple times and all sorts of trouble. Me, I was just like along for the ride. Whatever we're doing, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people don't know that I was in a band.
Yeah.
In the late 80s.
I didn't know you were in a band.
When I lived in Massachusetts. And we were doing pretty good. Mm-hmm. We were playing different shows, going to Connecticut.
Nice.
Once we went to Maine.
Awesome.
And it was 4 of us. They all played the instruments and I sang. Mm-hmm. And we were doing great. But then we got into drinking heavy. Mm-hmm. And then it was going to parties every Friday and Saturday night. You walk in, there'd be a little mountain of cocaine on the dining room table. And we were doing that.
Yeah.
And then we started taking pills to stay awake and taking pills to go to sleep. Mm. And it almost killed all of us.
Yeah.
And, well, one did commit suicide over it. So, but, yeah, so I've been in music a long time, but as far as recording, I don't think we weren't recording back then too much, except on home studio, but nothing that ever.
Do you have any interest in doing shows again, or are you more interested in just releasing at this point?
These days, I can't stand for long periods.
Yeah.
So because I thought about it. I don't know.
We'll just see where the wind blows you.
Sitting for too long and standing for too long is a problem.
Yeah.
If I could go back to being 30, it would definitely be a help. But
yeah, roll with the punches, I guess. Huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just exciting to see that you're releasing again. Honestly, like I'm loving it. I'm all for it, and it's just I'm excited to see how much or how you progress now. Because you have years of experience, and then you taking the time off. I encourage artists here when they run into like writer's block or anything, like take a couple weeks off. Don't focus on music for a while. You took that to the extreme. You took like 13 years off. Yeah. But now, knowing what you know then and how you were then, mixing it with the new school that we've got now, I'm just excited to see where it goes from here,
Yeah.
where you end up, because who knows, it could take off. Honestly, it seems to be the artists that are doing it like what you're doing, like without the expectation of it going anywhere, doing it purely for the sake of doing it and because you enjoy it and coming from a place that is real and like, speaking from the heart. Those are the times whenever people are usually shocked and it ends up actually going somewhere. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see your stuff start doing, way better. Just because it's real, it's genuine.
Yeah.
You're not just writing for the sake of getting attention. You're writing because you're speaking from the heart, and it shows. So, man, if you guys feel like crying, listen to some of his music. There's some happy stuff too, but man, you know how to pull at the heartstrings, especially for all of us that knew Caleb. I know you write about him quite a bit, but I do the same. You know how many times I've said this is the last song I'm going to write about Caleb because I keep doing it, and then I end up, because again, I think about him every day, so I end up writing about him again.
Yeah.
It just happens, but it's what you write from what you know, and, is a huge part of my life. So, but man, I'm just beyond excited to watch, what happens with your journey through music now at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what happens.
Yeah, I want to get a country. I think we should do a song where you write a chorus, and then we make Hank rap some verses. So it's like a country rap song, but with both of you guys. I think that would be really cool. Hank, do it.
With Hank working so much now, and
oh man,
now he's got the baby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if.
Yeah, since he started the whole family life, he's definitely had a lot more on his plate. And hasn't written like he was, but I'd love to see the same thing. Just at least one song to come out, from like actually be released from all the work he's put in for you. Because he was writing for years, since he was a teenager, he was writing raps. So like, just from all that, I'd love to see at least one, finished thing be released to the world.
Yeah, Hank used to practice out in my shop.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I ever heard it, I was inside the house, and I thought he had the radio on or something.
Mm-hmm. No, man, he's good.
I didn't realize it was him.
Yeah, he's good. I have a demo we made forever ago. I can show you after this if you want. We made it back when we were recording at John's studio, and it was just over a YouTube beat. But he did. Because it was also about Caleb, but it was way sooner to the time. Like, it wasn't very long after Caleb passed. But he came in and rapped a verse about him, and it chokes me up still, like, listening to it. It's so good. And, he's got the chops to become a phenomenal rapper if he will, take the time. But it's hard, having, mortgage, factory job, new baby, wife and who has another child. He's got a whole family going on. Like, it's a lot to do.
Yeah, and now he realizes what we went through.
Yeah.
When they were kids.
Yeah.
How tough it is to pay everything. And,
Yeah, my baby's not even born yet, and I just in the 2 or 3 months since she's been pregnant, the level of stress has gone from here to here. So everything gets harder, and it's just going to continue to get harder. It's going to be, I'm sure a lot of my stuff is going to slow down significantly when when my baby's born. That's why I actually gave myself a goal the other day to by the 31st of July, by the end of next month, I want to have 24 songs written and done, and I'm going to release every 2 weeks. So that'd be a year's worth of songs.
Yeah.
But I also want to make at least 200 pieces of content, like videos for each song. That's a lot, but that's so that gives me literally a year's worth of stuff to be consistently posting, to where that means I have a year to work on the next 24, or instead of right now I'm trying to do it in a month and a half. But if I can do it, if I can work really, really hard this next month and a half, then I have the next year of focusing on my family, my new family that's about to, grow, getting into a new house, building a new studio, all that. So I got a lot that's gonna happen that's gonna slow me down. So I have to try to work extra hard now to prepare for that, for the way it's gonna go. But it's stressful. But yeah, I know Hank's feeling it now too. It's a lot. Now I'm gonna, especially as my kid becomes a teenager, I'm really gonna see more and more what it was like for you guys dealing with us.
Yeah.
We were at times little delinquents too, so it is I'm sure a lot.
Yeah.
But what goes around comes around. It's just next generation, and man, my kid being born, and Hank's kid just being like a baby right now. It's only a few months old. It's really cool to think that like, and his kid even being named Caleb, like the next generation, my kid and his kid can be friends, and you know, if I'm still living around here at the time, but it's just exciting to basically like level up a generation and to watch the next generation get to start doing its thing, and who knows where they'll end up, what they'll do, you know. Like I wouldn't. We watched you guys do music all growing up, but again, I never thought I'd be in here doing music now. But it's just, it's not a mystery how we ended up here, but it wasn't planned. It's just, you know, you kind of you do what you know, and we've always been around the music people, always, man. From me and Caleb rapping to playing guitar and just trying to do whatever we can do there, and then, you know, listening to Hank rap, listening to your music, always trying to push you guys to do more. Is just in turn has ended, you know, me up here where I am doing it all now. But it's exciting. That's why I kind of hope to try to help the next generation of artists or people wanting to be artists. Like I just want to help them, which is the whole point of this. I want to help them feel like they're ready to commit to themselves and start trying to do their thing. Because it's taking that leap is the hardest part. Like, you know, it took you 13 years to come back to writing a song, you know? And it's hard, but once you start, it's like jumping off the cliff. It's like the hard part's standing on the edge. Once you jump, you fall pretty fast. So, like, once you start, you know, again, it took you 13 years to get back to it, and once you wrote one, now you've got 15. You know, it happens quick once you just commit to doing something for yourself. So,
and I've probably got 25 or 27 songs written.
That's good.
Some of them I'm not too sure about, but
release them anyway. I do. You'd be surprised. Like I said, the one I've got the most attention on is the one that I thought nothing of. Hey, we wrote it in like 30 minutes, made the beat, made everything, put it out, and it got the most attention. But it often happens like that, where like the one you're so sure is going to be the big one, nobody cares about, and the one you were like, is the one everyone's like, woo, love this. So yeah, just put them out.
Well, I knew after that first song I had to write something about Eleanor and Caleb.
Yeah.
And that's where I came up with that idea, because Eleanor is riding horses now. So I took all that and put it into a song. And I thought, well, it's not the best song, but maybe Eleanor will like it when she grows up. And it turned out to be, it's the #1 played song on Spotify of mine.
Yeah.
And
it's funny how that works out, you know. I do the same thing. I write with a lot of like intent for that. Like I'm working on a song right now about the stress of having my first child, like everything that goes into that, and now I just like hope that I will be enough, like as a father, like hope I can do everything, you know. Obviously you're gonna make mistakes along the way, but I hope to do everything I can as right as I can. But I think about that for that, so that like if, you know, God forbid anything happens to me, my child could listen back to my music one day and be like know how I felt, or know that I cared and all that, and I was working hard for it. Also a similar idea, because I'm always playing with time and the way I'm thinking about stuff. I'm gonna do, it's not gonna be a Never Ready podcast, but I'm gonna do a podcast style just like this with my dad, and I'm just gonna sit down and we're just gonna chat and like get to know each other on a level of, now we're like both adults, and not, you know, it's different when it's a kid, or, you know, you just, there's no secrets anymore. Like we're adults doing whatever. So I want to sit and we're gonna talk and have like a whole like long interview like this about it, so that like I could show my grandkids one day, like me sitting with my dad, like their great great grandpa or whatever at that point, and they could watch him young and just see his, listen to some stories from his life or some of his ideologies of how things are in life. Because I think that's I think it'd be a really like powerful thing to have down the line to show the family, and like I want to continue doing it, like eventually do it with my kid, and then they could, if they want to do it with their kid. So it's like a, just, you know, like my grandkids, if may never have the chance to like sit down and talk with my dad or get to know him, and my dad's like one of the most important people to me in my life, so I would love for them to know. So it's just it's really been a cool idea to me, to like when I'm playing with time again, to think about that and try to like set it up the same way you were talking about. Eleanor might hear that song and think about it, or, you know, think about all that kind of stuff and listen to it. So it can be a beautiful thing, the way songs or videos and all that we have now can like archive and be like stand the test of time, and really just display how you felt or how you thought at that time to the future generations.
Yeah, and the big thing is a lot of things I can't talk about, but I can put in a song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I think coming from a family full of Marines, because growing up, all my uncles, my brother-in-laws, my dad had been a former Marine before I was born. But they were all tough guys. You know, their ideal was guys don't cry, guys don't show emotion, and I grew up that way. So I can't talk about most of things that you hear in the songs, are things that I can't just sit and talk to someone about.
No, I get that. I think the only time I've ever seen you emotional, I think you honestly, like, not trying to out you here, but I know you held it together fairly well for the service and everything. But I remember in the shop, like when we were all hanging out there drinking, because we all come over for like the next few nights and just hung out. I know you came out there and got pretty emotional with us one night, and I think that was like the first time I've ever seen you be like that. Because, I mean, there is just that trope. It's just a men thing, honestly. Like, a lot of men feel that way, or like feel like they aren't supposed to cry. I unfortunately am a big baby. Like, I will be watching something happy on TV and I'm tearing up. It's so beautiful. Like, just crying about everything. I try not to, but I do have a goal for myself, to be the strongest person at my father's funeral, like when that rolls around. Because, like, he is the person that I go to if I have anything. Like, when Caleb passed, he's the first person I called. When Noah passed, he was the first person I called to talk to. When I found my uncle dead when I was in 10th grade, first person I called was my dad. So he's always been that person, like, I go to. So when he goes, I want to be that for the other people there, you know. So, like, if I'm at that, hopefully it's later in life and not, you know, nothing that happens anything sooner than that. But that's just like a personal goal for me, to be the strongest person at my father's funeral, so that I can be that person for the younger ones who will need me, you know, the way I've needed him.
Yeah.
So I get it, the trying to keep the tough, which he also is the same way. He doesn't show a lot of emotion. You got to kind of get him drinking if you want him anything to come out. But he grew, I think my whole family's like Navy, but he grew up like that. Like his grandpa, Navy, his parents, or his mom and his aunt, and like a lot of the family all military. So they're all like tough, straight-laced, and now they're all farmers and tough people and stuff. And so he's like, anytime we start talking about emotional stuff, he'll just vanish. He'll disappear into the back room or something. But so yeah, I get that mentality of trying to be the tough one, you know, trying not to show it.
Well, see, tonight we got the call to go to the hospital. I knew what had happened in my mind, you know, and I thought, okay, I got to be the tough one. I got to be the one that.
Got to be there for Mom, for Hank, for.
Yeah, I'm the one that has to think ahead, like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
You know, it didn't really hit me, because I was thinking.
That's what it seemed like.
What all do I have to do now to make sure they stay together
Mm-hmm.
and don't fall apart too much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what I mean by, like, you seem to have kept it together through the service and through everything. It wasn't until, you know, like,
Yeah,
in the shop.
Well, I did break my own rule at the funeral.
Yeah, no, it's a hard thing, man. I was a baby at the funeral.
And that still bugs me for some reason.
Uh,
I'm like, you know, because I can hear my uncles and all of them saying, "Men don't cry, men don't cry, Hank."
Hmm.
You know, but they were born in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
They were born at a time when guys did not cry.
Had any of them?
And they didn't show emotion.
Had any of them lost a child? Because I feel like that's a certain level of like you
No.
expect to lose your parents one day.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but you like any parent's hope, I feel like, is you hope to go before your child. You don't want to lose your child. So, man, I feel like that's one of those things that, like, you're gonna cry. Like, it's gonna come out. Even if you are able to hold it together during a service, it's gonna come out after that, you know, or some point. So a lot of dudes, I know, will go off by themselves to cry, you know, so no one sees. They're having their emotional moment by themselves.
Yeah, people come up to me more often than not and say, "Hank, you're well, women will say it especially. Hank, you're so tough. You just get through everything without." So, yeah, but you don't see me all the time.
Yeah, you see what I want you to see.
Yeah.
And I get that.
There's a big difference what I put out there
Mm-hmm.
and what I'm really thinking or feeling.
I think it's good for, especially like even doing something like this, it's good to hear men say that, though, like that it, like that, because a lot of people feel that way. I feel like that they aren't supposed to be emotional, but I think it's good for men to know that, like, you're allowed to have emotion. You know, you're allowed to let it out. Even if you aren't the person who's comfortable doing it in front of people, like if you gotta go be by yourself and have a cry, go be by yourself and have a cry.
Yeah.
You know, let it out. But man, yeah, it is a tough thing. Someone's here, probably Blade. Man, we're getting into a lot now.
Yeah.
We're pushing on 2 hours, so I'll probably lead into my last big question here, which I ask everybody at the end of the podcast, and it is, what would you say to somebody who is caught in that feeling of never being ready to, like, commit to themselves or to do something? Because, you know, somebody who, like, you've been ready to write music pretty much since Caleb passed, but it's taken some time. I know you had some health stuff too, which caused you problems. But what would you say to someone who's just always making excuses or never quite ready to do it?
Just do it.
I know.
When I woke up that Sunday morning, I had that idea in my head, and I thought, I don't know how much time I've got left, and I promised Caleb, and I'm going to do it. And I did it. You just have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it doesn't turn out that it's a great song, you still have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even if you've been doing this for a long time, you're going to have songs that you write that aren't that great. Mm-hmm. You know, I've got a few of them up now that when I listen to them, I think, oh, crap. You know, I actually put that up there.
I do that.
But you're going to have criticism.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to just ignore most of it. Because you can spend all day arguing back and forth with a stranger from across the country that you've never met, never will meet, or you can just ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree.
But I would say just go do it.
Mm-hmm. Just believe in yourself, really.
And don't worry about anybody thinks. You know, if somebody says, "Oh, I don't like that kind of music you're doing," who cares?
It ain't for you then.
You know, like 15 years ago when I was sharing music from rappers, the old country guys would say, "What are you sharing that for? We don't do that." I said, because he's a new guy just getting started.
Showing some support, you know.
That's what he likes. And I'm going to help him, and I did. And he would share my music on his page, which was mostly rapper fans. And they would come back and say, "Man, that's good, Hank." You know, like if you do rock, you don't have to just support people that are doing rock. You know what?
Just support for the sake of being supportive.
Yeah.
You don't have to. There's not got to be any specific reason or mindset behind being supportive, which is what I was talking about. I feel like a lot of people like have to feel like they're getting something out of it. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to be supportive.
Well, it's like today has changed a lot, you know, as far as politics go.
Mm-hmm.
You see that on Facebook
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's one subject I don't even talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's like if you don't think, believe, and live and vote the way I do, we can't be friends. I don't get that.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, that's a lot of why like I just avoid talking about a lot of things, and especially when you can tell like when you're around somebody and they start really getting one side opinionated about something. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm just gonna not talk about that topic because I'm gonna piss them off pretty quick. And so you just learn to read the room.
And we used to all be able to get along.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter how you voted or what party you were with.
What kind of music you sang?
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Just
But now every little thing is a big deal.
everyone's just competing nowadays instead of supporting, and it definitely is it's a lot harder nowadays than it was back then, I feel like, to find support, but it also makes, that's like a catch-22 because it makes the payoff of when you do find support feel that much better. Like when you find somebody who's supportive, it just means that much more to you because it's so much more few and far in between nowadays. But yeah, I've joked about it before. I'm going to have to make a montage of everybody when I ask them that question at the end. Pretty much everybody starts off with just do it, and then they get into their reasoning. But I'm gonna have Nike's probably gonna try to sue me, but I'm gonna have to put a video out and it's just a montage of everybody going just do it, just do it, just do it, or they'll love it and they'll use it as an ad. But yeah. But anyways, I want to thank you for coming and taking the time to do this. Check out Hank Wheeler on everywhere, music stream, Spotify, iTunes, all Apple Music stuff. Pandora, YouTube, anywhere you want to find it, it'll be there. He's a great guy. Like I said, it's like my second father here. Will always be family, but definitely one sec. Definitely take the time to check him out. And as always, I hope we are able to make you feel like a little bit more like you're ready to commit to yourself and your goals, and a little less like you're caught in that state of being never ready. So, again, thanks, man, for taking the time to sit down with me.
Well, thanks for having me up here.
Absolutely. It's been fun. I always like a good chat with you.